Man, happy Friday, or whatever day it is, wherever you're at, man. What up, Coop, man? We got some good music to talk about, bro.
You already know what it is. The
Yeah,
GOAT.
man. Well, we're gonna welcome everybody into the room. Shout out to everybody on our YouTube channel,
Great call.
YouTube subscribers. We done hit 1,000, man. That's what's up, man. Hands off to all of y'all, man. We really love y'all. We really appreciate y'all tuning in and checking with us. And if you're watching this on Facebook, please go over to According to Hip Hop YouTube channel and go ahead and subscribe so you can hear it live. We're doing our lives on YouTube from now on because the YouTube audience is where it's at. Let's just keep it real. But Nas just dropped a dope album that we're going to talk about later. There's a lot to unpack from this King's Disease too. Him and Hit Boy collaborated and put together a very, very good effort. I'm still listening to it. I know it's early, but we did want to zero in on the one track that everybody's talking about currently. It's EPMD 2, Nas featuring EPMD themselves, and Eminem. What were some of your reactions from hearing that record for the first time? And did you actually go to the record, or you listened to it in the sequence of the album?
Yeah, you already know it's Nas, and so the album is a moment. So I'm one of the few artists I'm going to definitely always listen to in sequence. But
Mm-hmm.
also too about the honesty of how we do our reviews, Mike. I usually listen to almost everything that we review in sequence the first time I listen to it. That's just out of matter of fairness. So
Right.
I didn't treat the Nas project any different. And truthfully, although the record is dope, and I know we're going to talk about this later this evening. I mean, if I was ranking it on the album, it's not one of the five best songs on the album, Mike.
Yeah.
So that means the album's pretty great because the song's dope. It's
Yeah, the
just,
song is cool. I think that. Do you think it lived up to the hype of Eminem and Nas finally sharing a track together? And also, I want to ask the people in the room, what did y'all think of the song EPMD 2 featuring Nas? I'm sorry, not featuring Nas. Nas featuring Eminem and EPMD. Do you think it lived up to the hype, or what? What was your reaction from the record?
I have mixed emotions about it because, like I said, I don't think it's one of the five best tracks on the album,
Mm-hmm.
but I also think the album is stellar. We're going to hold our thoughts about that until later this evening. Lyrically, uh, I was impressed with Nas, like kind of digging in, like Nas knew he was going to share the track with him, and so I can see him as an MC. He pulled some tools out of his toolbox that he hadn't pulled out in a while. The most impressive thing that I was impressed with by Nas was that the fact, Mike, just in terms of sequence to the album, that was a second straight track where you heard him switch up his flow more than halfway into the song. Those are things that he doesn't typically do. That speaks to the level of comfort with Hit
Mm-hmm.
Boy. It's some of that goat shit where it's like, oh, wasn't expecting him to do that, but he can do that too. As far as Eminem is concerned, I'm kind of ambivalent because I'm somewhere in the middle with everything that I've been hearing. For the people that have been saying that M murdered Nas, like they need to go listen to Nas. And for the people that are saying that it's totally whack and too technical and offbeat, yeah, kind of, but not totally. He had some moments too. And so I'm somewhere in the middle on M's verse. I'm not like a super fan of it, thinking that he killed Nas, but I don't think that the shit is whack. I think he did kind of rhyme off beat pattern.
Mm-hmm.
For I think about 4 or 5 bars, it felt like he was off beat pattern. Am I right?
Yeah, and you know what? I kind of expected that because usually when Eminem gets on a track, they normally either cater the track to his production style, or they'll just change the beat altogether, like the Conway record.
Well,
And
you want to
when this record didn't change its beat, I was actually impressed with that. But I also knew that there was going to be some offbeat, off kiltered rhyme schemes that were going to be attempted, especially the way that Eminem initially approached the record. Like he just came in with the swift, quick flow. I've never really been a fan of his fast flow like that.
I mean, usually he does the flat fast flow because he's in like battle prove it mode. So a couple things like you're on a track with Nas, so ain't nobody switching up the beat for you because that's Nas.
Right.
So like that's one of those things where it's like, well, in that circle with that Titan, you don't get that hall pass or that flex that you get with other legends, even, or even people who are great but haven't earned literally as much financially or weight wise or appearance wise in the game what you have. But no, you rapping on the beat that, you know what I mean, like Nas gave you. And so he knew what it was. He was offbeat a little bit.
There was a
is a lot
point in there, not to interrupt you, but there was a point in there where I really didn't understand what he was saying. Like towards the end, it sounded kind of like, you know, what he did on Rap God, where he was just kind of not even really saying any words at all. You know what I'm
No,
talking about?
I don't see. That's what I'm saying. For you guys that are saying that it wasn't as nonsensical to me as y'all are saying that it is, but it wasn't like as breathtaking as like other people are saying it is. Like breathtaking. Like. Let's just go ahead and talk about them again, right quick. Like when Kiss did who shot your shit
Right.
on the verses, that was breathtaking. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, this wasn't breathtaking like that, but it was dope. He got it in. He did his job. I was more
Hold on 1 second. Go ahead.
early. You know, we usually don't go early on a Friday. People probably thinking they can hit you up and stuff. You know, it's all good.
Sorry about that, brother. Go ahead. You're in the middle of a thought.
People ain't used to us rocking on Friday this early. This is a special day for hip hop when we
right.
This early. I know people probably texting me right now thinking, but
people have been blowing me up about this album, by the way. Yeah. People have been blowing me up about this album anyway. So I'm sure you're getting the same.
You already know the motion. You know, it's according to hip hop, and we got like our head circle who just know us like as fans of the music. So a Nas album's a moment for us as heads. They sounded good together overall stylistically, and that's what I was more impressed with, Mike. I was always worried about how it was going to come off them literally rhyming next to each other in terms of like, how is it going to sound?
Right.
I thought Nas picked an excellent beat to include Eminem on this album. There's not another track on this album where Eminem's going to fit in at stylistically speaking. And
well, you know, it seems like, that's kind of like the hallmark when it comes to, I mean, let's see the blueprint with that. You know, like you have to find a way to fit, you know, Eminem onto what you're doing, because you can't just throw him on any track on the, you know what I'm saying, on the record. You know, it's not like one of those natural pairings like the song with Lauryn Hill. Like that sounded like a natural thing for both artists. It was beautiful hearing them together. But I do agree with you. I think that Nas did a very good job of fitting Eminem into the fold and into what he was doing with the album. I wasn't super impressed by Eminem's verse. I know one of the bars that people really are going crazy over, and I wanted to ask you about this. What did you think of that bar where he was like Rudolph and his homies when they pull in the sleigh? Yeah, that's a lot of bucks flying when I'm making it rain, dear.
So, Mike, that's what I'm saying. So do I think that is impressive? Like when I heard it, I was like, that's impressive. But I didn't think that he murdered Nas. That's what I mean when I'm saying I'm ambivalent. Is that impressive lyrically to me? Like, yes, on a level that it is. So let's go to a couple
I'm
things.
not impressed by it. I'm sorry. It's corny. I'm sorry.
Let me finish. Do I think it was on a level that was beyond what Nas was spitting on the very same track? No. Do I think stylistically that's what Eminem does and has to do? Yes. Are there levels to this? Yes. So let's discuss levels to this. And I brought it up on one of our last shows when Conway was like, niggas keep blocking my goals, I'm gonna make it messy. See, that's the highest level, Mike. So what Eminem just did wasn't that. And so when people are talking like he did that, it's like, oh, no. It's dope, but it's not that. And that's why I keep telling you, I'm somewhere in the middle of it. I'm not with the people like you who aren't impressed. I'm not with the people that are thinking that it's like the greatest shit ever either. Like they're thinking that it's the highest level. It's not. So, Mike, if I was just rating the performance, I would probably give it like a 8, Mike. Like it was an 8. Like if he is who people say he is. I mean, Mike, it's hard to get on a track after Nas when he spits like that. It's not like Nas was saying some bullshit. This wasn't no firm full circle Nas, like, you know, spitting about, like, you know, he my boxing trainer, he's my logic explainer, conversations through our, this ain't that Nas, this was like rapping Nas, and it's hard to go after rapping Nas. And so part of why I'm giving him an 8 is what I'm saying is because it's like, no, like he just rapped next to Nas. Nas sounded dope, Nas sounded fresh, Nas switched his flow. He did a good job without, there were some missteps, technical and being off beat wise, but for the most part, I thought he did a solid job. It's hard coming after Nas. Like people acting like that's not Nas.
What are you giving? If we're giving out a grade for, let's just say
like,
Eminem
my original
specifically,
thought was like a 7.5. My original thought was a 7.5, but then I thought like this nigga rapping after Nas and Nas spitting.
Okay, so you keeping 7.5?
I'd say 7.5 would be
for
a good
Eminem's
rating
verse on the song. Okay.
Yeah. Because it has some highlights, but it has some missteps. It's not this flawless piece of work. He definitely didn't murder Nas. And I'm not saying that as a Nas fan. I'm just saying it because it didn't happen.
I don't see any highlights.
Like, you know what? You want to know what? You know who murdered Nas on a song? Rick Ross on Accident Murderers.
Okay.
That's when
Rick Ross
murdered on a song. This wasn't that.
Well, first of all, the whole notion that he murdered Nas on the song is totally false, and obviously it's ran by.
There were dudes saying that at 3 and 4 in the morning. That was crazy.
It's ran by the Stan Coalition. Clearly, I'm giving this verse, this appearance on this album, a 5, and that's
I knew you were going to say that. I was putting my hand up. Like
I'm going 4 or 5. Number one, you know, like I said, it's one of the lowlights of the album. I think that Eminem's gimmicky fast flow, I've never gotten into it. You know, I've appreciated more of the work that he's done when he was in his, you know, traditional Eminem flow. I think now his fast flow has become a little bit gimmicky to the point where I don't even think, you know, he's in the conversation with some of the people they put him in the conversation with. I think that he's more in the Tech 9 lane. And that's no disrespect to Tech 9. Tech 9's put in a whole bunch of work in the game, but nobody talks about Tech 9 in a sense of being, you know, in the top 10. And the people who do have all the right to say that Eminem is this, this, and this. But when we talk about putting things in context, I don't think that lyrically he's proven, you know, recently especially with this flow, that he belongs in the conversation with somebody like a Nas. And content-wise, I wasn't a fan of where he took it on this album either. I know we're going to talk about the album extensively later, but the album is a mature record. You know what I'm saying? And Eminem's not 25 years old anymore, and all the pop and pill lines and the Tylenol and the, you know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. Why is this on a Nas record? Why is it on this Nas record? You know what I'm saying? And so it leads me to believe that the MC that people deem as one of the greats doesn't have too much in his lyrical database content-wise to be able to step outside of what the shrooms, the pills that are so 25 years ago. You know what I mean?
20, but I get you.
You know what I mean? He's what? Eminem's 50 now, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, are we really? Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's 50. And we still rapping about shrooms and pills and on a Nas record. Like, I could see if, you know, you got together with Wayne or something like that, and that, you know what I'm saying, that was the lane. But when you get on this Nas record and this Nas album and you're talking like this, it kind of lets me know that you don't really have too much to talk about. And maybe that's one of the downsides of being such a huge popular artist, whereas you're not really out here living too much of real life. You know what I mean?
Well, let's have some quick takeaways.
Because I want to finish that with talking about the Bucks line, right? And the Make It Rain deer. Like, have we ever seen Eminem in a strip club? Will you ever see Eminem in a strip club? What are you talking about?
You want to know?
You know what I'm saying?
You want to know why I actually like the line? First of all, I do think Eminem's been to a strip club before, probably not quite some time. I mean, you know, I hate to say it, Mike. I mean, you really don't see a lot of like past 40-ish type of men in strip clubs too often. And if you are, it's
Why
really
rap
not the type
about
of
it? That's what I'm saying. We're rapping about a
okay.
bunch of stuff that's not
So,
even
but
going
okay,
on in
Mike,
your
so
50
even
year
so
old
even
life.
not so Mike, so Mike, so as somebody like into the craft of lyrics and lyricism and MCing, I thought the Bucks line was more of a commonplace reference where he might have been pulling inspiration from watching TV, maybe because the
Okay.
Milwaukee Bucks just won the NBA
That was
championship. MC's
a relevant bar. Like it was a bar that like let me say something relevant.
right.
Yeah.
So that shows that. So okay, so let's get into that. That's what I was about to get into, and this is what I mean why I gave it a 7.5. At least I can hear that M is still into his craft and the craft of MC. And we've had a lot of conversations lately, Mike, about practice. We've been up here talking about niggas practicing.
I disagree with
Like,
you. I don't think
Mike,
he's in his
Mike,
craft. I think it's
Mike,
lazy bars.
didn't we just have a conversation that it seemed like his homie wasn't practicing? It sounds like, at least with his style, he still practices his
I don't think
craft.
he's practicing lyrically. Listen to this. We got bars like, so please call me Big Daddy because I got the cane and lean on me. You're telling me that's practicing?
No, I'm saying, yes, Mike, because for him, no, Mike, but his bars have always been like that. It's just, it doesn't resonate the same anymore. And this is Mike, when you talk like this is why I keep telling people Nas is the GOAT, because it's like, well, yeah, no, M been doing this. It just doesn't resonate the same. This is why when Nas keeps recreating himself, when he keeps coming up with quality product and quality songs and quality bars that actually last, I'm looking at the other guy. I'm not looking at him. I'm like, yeah, look at the GOAT. Like that.
I
Like
hear
these
you.
things
I
that
hear
you
you.
say
I hear
about
you.
him is
But
why Nas is the GOAT. That's why Nas
unfortunately,
is
when you
the
put
GOAT. It's
certain
not
people
about
on your
him. It's just he's not the GOAT like
I,
Nas is.
I agree with that. And I think we all, I mean, anyone who seriously listens agrees with that. But unfortunately, when you pull certain people onto your record, it does affect your album, like Braveheart Party, right? Like it does
This
that.
isn't that. No, this isn't that, Mike.
It's
No.
not
That's
that, but
not a
I'm just
fair
saying,
comparison.
just
It's
the
not,
whole
not that.
concept of
That was very
pull.
problematic.
I'm
That
not saying
ruined the
that. I'm
classic
not.
album.
That's not what I'm. Cool. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you pull certain individuals in, it can affect your record. You know what I'm saying? And then, like I said, I don't like the lean and Kane references as it
So,
pertains to this Nas album. Like what we got a pocket
so
full of pills. Some are Tylenol threes, probably 2 or 3 Mollies. Some are E. I mean, it's like a 50-year-old Eminem on a Nas album.
no.
Go ahead.
No, I get all of that. And I told you that all of those assertions are very, very valid. But here's also would be my assertion to you. I mean, Eminem's not even the weak point MC wise of that song. That would actually be EPMD. It sounded like EPMD kind of flew that verse in a little bit, like on both levels.
But content-wise, I like where they went with it. I mean, obviously, let's just keep it real.
Content
Skill.
wise, their EPMD, it's like, it's on some like old school rap shit inspired song about like, of course they know what to do rap wise with it, Mike.
Right.
It doesn't mean that it sounded like particularly dope. I thought their performance was one of the weaker spots of the actual song. And my other question to you or quibble would be, who would you have rather seen finish off that song other than Eminem? Because I have somebody who
I
I
think
would have
Nas should
rather.
have finished the song off.
No, so for what Eminem did, and I'm gonna bring this guy up again, and especially era-wise, this would have made sense. It would have made more sense to put Cool G Rap on this record.
I agree.
And
I think Cool G Rap
also
should have
too,
been on
and
there
so
instead of Eminem.
and so let's go to Cool G Rap right quick, because I told you this and I've said this many times on this show and behind the scenes. It's like, well, he actually does what Eminem does, and it hits you different because of content-wise what he's delivering, and he's delivering it in a menacing and punishing manner. And the content is menacing and punishing and direct, and so is G Rap. And so you're looking at a song, EPMD. What's EPMD's era, Mike? That's like 88 to 92. That straight G Rap,
How did
stylistically.
Eminem
What
even
Eminem,
get on this song in the first place then?
like all I'm saying is that, so so I'm gonna be honest, even though I thought Eminem was a good choice beat wise because of what he did, Cool G Rap was the overall better choice for this record.
Well, I mean, I guess this was more of one of those things to get people talking. I get the Eminem fans who weren't who don't really listen to Nas as much as they should to get pulled into an album, similar to what the Blueprint was. Because at the time when the Blueprint came out, Eminem was selling more units than anybody, and I think Jay used Eminem and his following to try to pull some of his fans into the Blueprint and what they were doing. And I think this was a similar mentality. I just think it's really interesting. Go ahead.
No, he absolutely did, Mike. And we need to speak to something right quick. Eminem being white has afforded him a lot of things that it hasn't afforded a lot of other great MCs. And those other great MCs have used him, and rightfully so. And he's aware of that and okay with that, because he is also aware that he has been bequeathed things that other great MCs have not been bequeathed because he is white.
Well, he uses them as well. I think that,
like there's some usury going on, and it's awareness on both sides about
well, he uses them too. I mean, I think that when he gets on these type of records, it gives him even more credibility, because one would say, oh, well, Nas worked with him, or, you know what I mean? Like, that's
what I'm saying. They want the following and the money, and he wants the credibility.
Exactly.
They're using each
other. It's an even exchange.
And quite frankly, Mike, it happens in business every single day. All the time.
It does. And I find it interesting that
brothers ain't friends out here. It's like, what you got for me? Well, I got this for you. Well, I have this for you. Well, let's go.
Well, I mean, as the old saying goes, right? If you can't be used, you're useless, right? But the verse starts off. You there?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm chilling. I was just thinking about that shit you just said.
That's what they say.
No, that shit is real. If you don't have no or equity, what can I do?
Right. Well, he started off the verse like, not a single one like a dollar bill. Oh, hold on. Which one am I at? Oh, y'all should call yourself Santa, because none of y'all are real. And to start the verse off like that, and then to go into the drug talk, and we know you're 10 years sober, I just think could have been done content-wise so much better. And like I said, I think that when you have to reach back into that bag, you might not have too much new to say.
So that's what I'm saying. Like for me, it also something like not only that, but I mean more than anything to me. And here's why I would say it's more like a 7.5. You know, those first 4 to 6 bars, it's almost like, that's what I'm saying, Mike. Like, that's Nas. It's almost like he's trying to find his way on the beat to fuck with Nas.
Yeah,
being on a track with Nas can fuck with you like that.
You know, I remember. I like when and I know this is a whole different era of like, I think one of his best features to me was when he got on What's the Difference on 2001.
Everything on 2001 was stellar, Mike.
Oh yeah, he did awesome on there. I honestly think that he could be the MVP of that album, writer wise, and everything that he brought to the table on that. But I'm saying that to say I particularly point out that song because Exhibit was on there, and Exhibit did his thing on there. And he comes in there and flows with what's going on, even though he was kind of off topic, but he related the topic to him, but he sounded like he belonged on there. Like a lot of the times when he gets on records, it's like the whole color of the song changes. And not in a good way. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be...
No.
You know what I mean?
When you say that, it's like go to Forgot About Dre in that verse from Forgot About Dre. Yeah. That's one of his best verses.
It is. I think it's one of his best features. But like I said, I point out the other song because it had more than one MC on there. I think he does really well when it's 2 people. But you know what I mean?
That's fair.
Yeah, and
that's
so
fair.
like
you're talking about fitting into a group setting more, per se, content wise.
I loved him on, and these are one of the records that sold me on him early on when he was on the Sway and Tech record. He made his verse his own. It was like 10 MCs on there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about having to rap faster than the next person. You know what I'm saying? He was able to find where he belonged in that record and make his own identity with it, and it was dope. And I think now, and maybe it's the Renegade effect or something, he gets on a record with every intent to prove what everyone says about him, right? Like, you're trying to out-rap the next person. And it's evident, you know?
that chip on, that's what I'm saying. It's like, well, no, that's part of what comes with him. That chip on his shoulder about being the white boy in the room is never going away.
But it's like I'm sure it was always there though. But again, at some
It's
era, he
never
was
going
able to
away.
make it work, where it didn't
Yeah, no,
sound like
it's
he
just,
was doing that.
no, Mike, no, it was just fresher to us. That's what I'm saying. What he just did, he was doing on the Chronic 2001. It's just not as fresh, thereby not as dope. He hasn't, content-wise, filled in the gap as much. But Mike, I'm going to say this: most artists from his era, content-wise, have fallen off, except for Nas.
No,
Go.
it's true. I
True.
think Jay does a really good job of talking about what's going on with him currently.
He,
But
he, he he's become great at introspective rapping, Mike, but that's never what you went to Jay for, and that's not his strong suit as an MC.
I think his conversational way of approaching records is his strongest suit. But I think Jay is only as good as how interesting his life is, right? Like nobody really wants to hear about the family man, Jay. But he's made a habit in his whole career of telling you what's going on with him currently.
I mean, no, Mike, you're right. Reasonable Doubt is arguably the most entertaining rap album ever. Like in terms of just entertainment factor, like in terms of like if you're talking about somebody's life being put up on display and the entertainment value of it, it's like I told you, Mike. I'm gonna say it again. Thought he was getting indicted. It's like, oh, what? He doing what?
Berlin
Oh shit.
card
Hold on, no, I'm listening.
collection.
No, I'm listening. This dude, oh shit, I didn't know. It's the Hawaiian Sophie dude that was rapping fast on the boat last year.
Yeah, he changed
Like,
it up.
okay. Oh, be like, oh, I see that was his boat. See, those bottles are real.
Let me get to
Okay.
the chat real quick. We got Ken. He said 50-year-old Eminem. That was a fumble, but that's actually what he has been doing for over 20 years. Was it fumbling or talking about drugs? Be a little bit more specific.
All of that, Mike, that's what I'm saying, Mike. Everything that he's been doing on that record, he's been doing. It just don't hit us the same. It hit different now because the effect is wore off. Thereby, the content doesn't seem as heavy, and thereby it leaves you questioning his content. He's still dope.
I agree with part of what you
15
said.
years ago is a 10 to everybody,
I
like except
agree.
for a small circle of us.
I agree with a part of what you said. I think over the past 20 years, yes, you're right, and you guys are right. He's been fumbling for the past 20 years, but there's been nobody out there to hold him accountable for it because the major publications act like he's getting better and better when he's not. And I've said this about J. Cole too. I think when his fans go out there and parade the fact that he doesn't have any features or he doesn't work with producers, it doesn't help him. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of those. Go ahead.
It's crazy that you're bringing up J. Cole because my real takeaway, and this is from our conversation, you and I had a real heated text debate, like what, 7:30 this morning?
Right.
Me and this dude are texting crazy at 7:30 in the morning about Eminem. But when we got done, and I think it's pretty much just because I was tired and decided to pass back out. Yeah.
I was amped.
No, you were amped. And my real takeaway was actually the same things that I said about J. Cole when his album came out. It's like, well, we may just not have him placed properly and need to be placing him properly. But Mike, I'm also going to tell you this. It's like for my brother's generation, which is 10 years younger, he's Nas to a lot of them. But to me, he could still never be Nas. And so, like, Nas is the GOAT. And this guy is somebody on the back end of my top 25. And that's where it's always kind of been for me anyway. So nothing changed.
Yeah, I think putting Eminem as an overall
top 25, Mike, because I felt back in top 25, like, before Kendrick and Conway and Pusha started making their runs.
It's kind of like, hold on, let me get to Berlin's comment. He said, Mike, I appreciate the way you're trying to have a balanced take on this, but obviously you have an issue with Eminem, the current Eminem. Just say it, man. No need to beat around the bush. All right, let me speak for myself real fast.
Yeah, please do.
I think what we just said is the biggest problem. I think that we don't put Eminem in his proper placing when we talk about all-time greats. You and I just came from this concert where KRS rocked it. Big Daddy Kane rocked it. Rakim came with the classics. I can't say that Eminem is in that class. And I know some would say, oh, that's the 80s, whatever, whatever. Okay, well, let's go on to that next decade. When you talk about the guy who just dropped this album, Nas, you talk about a guy like Jay who's had albums and output that has spanned decades as well. You talk about somebody like Big, whose music in his 3-4 year career, we're going to hear like 10 to 20 of his songs for the rest of our lives. Right. He's not in that class either. He's just not. Now, am I saying he can't rap? No, I'm not saying that. There's a lot of people that can rap. There's a lot of guys that can spit, but when you're able to actually make records that stand the test of time, that's one thing. And when you have skills that stand the test of time, that's another. And that Jadakiss could be another one that we point out for that. What we just saw this past week and what Jada did to the Diplomats, that's a testament to long-term consistency with the records and with his individual ability. And from what we're hearing from Eminem, we're not hearing the same guy that y'all fell in love with, not even close. And really, when we think about it, those albums that everyone, gushes over, in the grand scheme of things, those aren't even really on the same plane as some of these hip-hop classics that we talk about. And that's just the truth. So we have to put him in perspective. I think he goes in line, like I said, somewhere around the line of where a Tech 9 is, who I think is incredibly skilled and incredibly dope.
No,
which is in the 30s, I would say.
No, I thought the J. Cole was more appropriate because when I look at the material, if you look at Cole's best 2-3 projects and look at M's best 2-3 projects, their core fans would tell you that those are great and classic projects. The overall objective opinion would probably be one classic apiece with 2 solid albums behind that. And that would be a more proper placement of somebody that even if lyrically they are above average or even A1, that would still put you on the back end of the top 25. Because, Mike, guess where I got Kane and Cool G Rap?
Yeah, I know. Because we did a show on this. But I still think that,
that's what I'm saying. I don't even know if they would be top 25 because I don't think Eminem and Cole are better than Kane and Cool G Rap. You ain't never
Especially after what we just saw.
Ever.
Especially after what we just saw, man. After what we just saw this past weekend, come on, man. But see, Cole has an opportunity too, right? Cole has an opportunity because he's not past his prime per se. He could still hit us with more classics. Eminem's done. I think, can we all agree on the fact that Eminem's done 20 years out of having an album that actually made a dent, critically? He's not going to come with what Nas just came with.
No, and so
he's not going to come with a King's Disease 2. That's not happening.
Oh, no, that's not happening. Jay's not doing that, Mike. That's why I'm saying, this shit, we're going to have a GOAT conversation
Jay
tonight,
can
Mike.
do it. Eminem can't do it. He doesn't have the ability.
No. Jay cannot make an album that Nas just made back-to-back years like this at this stage in his career. No, he cannot.
I disagree with that. I don't think, listen, I think we're on two different planes on this. We can have that conversation later. I think Jay can do it. Eminem can't do it. Do I think Jay will do it? No, I don't think he will. No, I don't.
We're going to have that conversation tonight, Mike.
We'll have that conversation tonight. And everybody who's watching us on Facebook, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get into the live and, discuss this with us. We're going to be on, 8 o'clock tonight? Eastern Standard Time? All right, let's do that.
Whatever works. Yeah, I'm with whatever. I'm with the shits tonight because it's Nas.
But look. I want people to understand I don't have a problem with Eminem. I just try to look at this hip hop thing in the most, give credit where credit's due. And I'm not going to sit here and give extra credit to, an MC for no reason. If you put in the work, you did the work, your work speaks for itself. It is what it is. You know what? I'm going to confess something here. Hip hop confession. I personally have never been that big of a KRS fan. But KRS is top 5, top 10 regardless, just based on the work, on his ability, and his performance is second to none. You know what I mean? Like,
what has happened? You never what?
no,
What?
listen,
You never what?
I guess I'm saying this in a sense where it's like a lot of the people that are in my top, I would listen to over a KRS record.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
you know what I'm saying? But he's better than a lot of my favorites, and I will admit that just based on, you know what I'm saying, just straight up facts.
I think a lot of the people in his stratosphere have made more seminal, memorable albums, Mike.
Right.
So you have a valid point.
Yeah.
But he's made a lot of seminal songs, and we just bore witness to the seminal songs performed live. He's the greatest hip hop performer ever.
And so, yeah, I mean, that's how I look at things. You know what I mean? Like, if I looked at who my favorites were, then, yeah, I mean, the list would be different. But when we talk about who are the best to do this and who earned this, whose music stands the test of time, Eminem just doesn't stand up to that. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't. And I think that skill-wise, he sounds like a whole different MC, does he not? I don't think we've seen a change like this since, like, Busta. Like, when Busta initially came out, and how his style changed, and now Busta doesn't sound anything like 96 Busta at all, like not even close. Eminem doesn't even sound like the same MC that made the Marshall Mathers LP or the Slim Shady LP or even the Eminem show. He doesn't.
No, Mike, and you want to know what? He's actually doing himself a disservice by doing that.
I know.
That's the Eminem that people swear by, and that's the Eminem that I've actually defended at times. That's why I'm saying it's like, no, I'm not defending this guy. I'm defending the guy that made those records.
Exactly. And so, you know, when he jumps on these records, people sit here and act like it's the same Eminem from the Eminem show. It's not. He doesn't. The rhyme schemes aren't even nowhere near that.
You want to know what, Mike? And you're right. And this is what I mean about placement. He gets Jay and Nas types of clout in terms of him jumping on a record, even if it's a Nas record. Because look at what song we're talking about. Mike, I told you, it's like I texted you this morning, like his pull is as such that we were supposed to be waking up today talking about that Nas and Lauryn Hill record, which is fucking brilliant. We got Lauryn Hill. Nas got Lauryn Hill to rhyme, y'all, and we talking about Eminem.
Well, I wanted to get this record out the way so we could actually talk about the album.
No,
you know what I mean?
No. We got. But I'm just. Yeah. You get what I'm saying.
I know what you mean.
I'm framing the conversation in terms of even us because we're a media publication, Mike, and because of what we do, we have to wake up today and discuss Eminem. and culturally, we really should be discussing the fact that L Boogie just got busy and
just
took a lot of shots
to the
while
mic.
She did, and took a lot of shots while she did.
You know, L Boogie.
She fired back for the first time.
Listen, I will say this, man. I think I've said this on the show before. Lauryn Hill, bar for bar, is the best female MC I've ever heard. One of the best MCs I've ever heard, period.
There we go, Mike.
You know, it's what it is.
When she MC, there's not a female MC conversation.
No, I just wanted to clarify that
part. No, she's
right.
Clearly the best female MC to pick up the mic every time she picks up the mic.
And the only reason why she's not number one altogether is just she just doesn't have the output that MC Light has. But
she's a top 10 caliber MC, period. Always has been.
Alfonso Howard said, "How is this a news flash? Eminem was finished in 2004." Hey, well, you know what? If we want to take that,
hanging out with Mike behind the scenes, you've been checking.
I mean, I think it's real. Like, I think one thing that's so great about social media, people actually get to actually hear what the people are really saying. Not Rolling Stone putting somebody on the cover in 2010, calling them the king of rap when they ain't put out shit that meant anything in a long time. The people know what it is, and it's what it is, man. Like, you know, we know Eminem's been finished, and he continues to prove it when he gets on these records and spits bullshit. I mean, like I said, I'm going to go listen to the verse again, but, you know, it sounded like one point he was just blabbing. So, yeah, when you're not even saying words, man, I think I'm going to take my 5 down to a 4.
How many bars did he get? That felt like 24 bars. That was 24 bars, right?
Yeah, it was like 24 bars.
I feel like he messed up probably 8 of the 24. Maybe they should have just gave him 16.
He had 8 bars where he was off beat. Or they took out the beat.
I'm saying. Those were the 8 bars where it was problematic because then it was like recovery mode. The recovery was nice.
But yeah, again, it's unfortunate that this overshadowed the fact that we got Lauryn Hill and Nas on the record rhyming, because I always wished she rhymed on "If I Ruled the World" or a remix or something. Man, that would have been so dope.
Like, it's taken 25 years, but I mean, we got to talk about it tonight. They sounded wonderful together.
Exactly. And you know what? Normally when stuff like this happens, you're like, shit, I wish this would have happened in '96. I'm glad this happened now.
So, Mike, this is real quick, and we can end it. This is part of that GOAT shit with Nas. You see, she probably still got rhymes in the back that she ain't never really rhymed, but the fact that he still sounds this fresh and this good and is still putting great projects together and got her in the zone and in the space, because she fits wonderfully within the space and the pace of this album. Like, she's the best guest appearance on this album, is she not?
She is. And you know what? Nas just dropped I'm going to go listen again, but Nas just dropped the album of the year for 2021 so far. And we're going to talk about that tonight.
Mike, if this ends up being the album of the year at this stage in his career on his 14th album, I don't ever want to hear this, like this conversation's over.
Like you said last week's show, started off fast, now you're wheezing in the back.
I don't want to hear the convo anymore, Mike. Mike, if he mess around and snag another album of the year Grammy, and then like we actually say it's the album of the year, not just we like it according to hip hop. I mean, like if the streets actually say that shit, I don't want to hear this GOAT conversation.
Listen, Jay-Z, I know you watch our show. You got some work to do, sir. I know you can do it. Coop said you can't do it. I think you can do it.
Mike,
I think you can do
it. Mike, go print that and quote that. But listen to me right now. You could go get Dre, Primo, Kanye, and RZA right now, and no, you couldn't do it. You will not drop projects this dope back-to-back years. You haven't done it in 20 years.
Sean Jay-Z Carter, listen to me. I believe in you. You can drop two back-to-back efforts that match or trump King's Disease and King's Disease 2. I believe you can do it.
I believe he can still sell water to a whale, but he ain't about to make no King's Disease and King's Disease 2 in back-to-back years. That shit's not happening.
But at this point,
This conversation is almost over.
At this point, Nas has the GOAT. He has the GOAT argument.
Hey, Mike, take over. Breaks over, nigga.
I gotta give it to him. We got Nasir. We got Lost Tapes 2, which was you know what I'm saying? King's Disease and King's Disease 2. We got 4 quality albums, or 4 albums, period. Let's say 3 out of 4.
Lost Tapes 2 is not good.
Yeah. 3 out of 4 quality efforts in 4 years from Nas. Now,
Mike,
I know you gave the Jay Electronica a good review. You gave the Jay Electronica a good review, but it didn't age well.
How about this, Mike? How about this? The Jay Electronica is better than the Lost Tapes 2. The Nasir, King's Disease, and King's Disease 2 are better than the Jay Electronica. And if we're just ranking them, like Nasir is good. King's Disease and King's Disease 2 are great.
I wouldn't say that. You know what? King's Disease 2 could be great.
How about this, Mike? If you don't think King's Disease is good, King's Disease 2 is great.
Yeah, King's Disease 2 is dope. And, and like I said, this sounds like an even better version of Life is Good. I'm going to go back and listen to it again before tonight's show. I don't want to jump out the window on it. But from what I'm hearing right now, this sounds like the album of the year so far. And, yeah, Jay-Z, I think you can do it, but yeah, there's some work to be done, because I think that the GOAT conversation is leaning more towards Nasir Jones at this point.
Put my name on that shit, Mike. Put my name on it.
Well, we'll see y'all tonight, 8 o'clock, YouTube, According to Hip Hop channel. Go subscribe. Thank you.